alleged terror plot was foiled by the FBI ahead of Halloween. The FBI says 2 men in Michigan brought guns and ammo and trained at gun ranges and planned to conduct a terror attack.
We are the Arabs who are going to lift Palestinians all the way to victory, whether we are in Michigan and whether we are in Jenin. So the reason why I mentioned this is that it sounds like you could be inciting violence in Michigan.
Bigot, and you are a racist, and you are an Islamophobe. And although you live here, I want you to know as mayor, you are not welcome here. And the day you move out of the city will be the day that I launch a parade celebrating the fact that you moved out of the city.
Something's going on in Michigan, and more specifically, Dearborn. I covered this last week when a city council meeting grew heated and fighting broke out in the streets. But something we as a country seem to have glossed over was that the FBI recently foiled a planned terrorist attack in the city. This is a real problem. America hasn't felt this problem widely yet, but as one of my subscribers pointed out to me last week, there are many areas of Great Britain and even Germany that are no-go zones due to the presence of radical Islamists. This, fellow Americans, is a discussion we need to have before it's too late. And this is another reason we need stricter immigration laws and mass deportation all across America. And I'm not saying this as an outsider. I'm saying this as an ex-Muslim who has experienced the effects of radical Islam firsthand. Today, we're discussing this guy, who also lives in Dearborn.
Assalamu alaikum, my Muslim brothers. My name's Ted. I'm a Christian. I want to lay down my life for my Lord, because my Lord laid down his life for me. We're not in a jihad against people or against flesh and blood, but against the jinn, against the evil spiritual forces over this present darkness. Life is short. Don't lay up for yourself treasures on this dunya. Lay up treasures in Jannah.
You get the idea. He continues quoting Bible verses and uses Muslim terminology in them. He's a colorful character, and I love colorful characters. The attire and the thumbnail he has for the video I just played pretty much look like an ISIS recruitment video. This guy, who's also a Christian minister, went to a town hall meeting and expressed concerns that the city of Dearborn named a street after this guy. A guy who, despite being American, waves the Lebanese flag around and protests American foreign policy and is hostile toward America and its allies. A guy who, despite being an American, calls for jihad against infidels, including the state of Israel. Maybe Trump should issue an executive order not allowing anyone named Osama into the United States. I'm kidding. But this guy, this Christian minister, he brings up some very valid concerns.
Just a couple of quotes here. He talks about how the blood of the martyrs, I'm quoting, irrigates the land of Palestine. And then further quotes, he talks about how the terrorists should strike them with knives and with their bare hands, and they're victorious. And he also encourages the use of rockets over there. And then another quote from 2022, we are the Arabs who are going to lift Palestinians all the way to victory, whether we are in Michigan and whether we are in Jenin. So the reason why I mentioned this is that it sounds like he could be inciting violence in Michigan. Believe me, I'm continuing the quotation. He says, believe me.
He's not. I just want to be clear. He can speak for himself.
Well, this is speaking for himself.
I'm going to stop you because he's not a violent person, and you can interpret his words any way you want, but I will guarantee you he is not intending to incite violence anywhere in the world.
Well,
And he could defend himself if he were here, but
sure,
we're not going to allow personal attacks in our community.
Okay, well, I mean, I'm just reading his words here.
That's fine, but you're interpreting his words after you read them. He did not use the word violence, did he?
Well, may I continue the rest of the quote?
Well, if you say you want to read them, you can read them. If you want to interpret and give your own opinion of what he's thinking, that's a different story.
Real quick, before I play the last little bit of this guy's quoting, how much interpretation does that really need? Sure, you can argue that our friend Osama is just saying that generally Arabs will support Palestine, but it's pretty clear to me, if those quotes are accurate, he's calling for jihad against the Israeli nation. And when he does that, and then in the same breath also calls for solidarity in Michigan, it doesn't look good. especially when people are planning terrorist attacks in that state. It's not a good look at all.
Okay, I'll continue. Whether we are in Michigan and whether we are in Jenin, believe me, everyone should fight within his means. They will fight with stones, others will fight with guns, others will fight with planes, drones, and rockets. Others will fight with their voices, and others will fight with their hands and say, "Free, free Palestine."
Again, that's super concerning. And what's even crazier is that we named a street after this guy in America. Are you kidding me? Not only does the Dearborn City Council totally ignore this guy's concerns and defend the dude that's explicitly calling for jihad against the enemies of Islam, they tell him later on in this same clip to not take the street or even to close his eyes when taking it. And here's the cherry on the cake. Here's what the mayor of Dearborn, Abdullah Hamoud, said to the Christian man I just mentioned, who ended his address to the city council by quoting the words of Jesus and saying, "Blessed are the peacemakers."
Quite hypocritical to know that you're approaching this podium when you yourself have videos on YouTube standing in front of my mosque saying the cruelest of things about Muslims, about the religion of Islam, because you are a bigot and you are a racist and you are an Islamophobe. And although you live here, I want you to know as mayor, you are not welcome here. And the day you move out of the city will be the day that I launch a parade celebrating the fact that you moved out of the city. Because you are not somebody who believes in coexistence. You're somebody who tries to preach it, but in fact you do everything but that. So I just want to put that on the record.
I checked out the minister's YouTube channel, and surprise, surprise, there was no Islamophobia. In fact, the minister, Ted Barham, has encouraged interfaith dialogue and even organized an Arabic and Hebrew hymnal song to be sung in front of a mosque to encourage unity, and has expressed his love for Muslims and his desire to preach the gospel to them. What Mayor Abdullah Hamoud did was disgusting, intolerant, and dishonest in the city council meeting. And he knew it was dishonest, but he did what Democrats always do. He pulled out the race card and called the preacher racist and Islamophobic for speaking out against incitements of violence, extremism. Pay attention, America. I do think ICE needs to go into Dearborn. And quite frankly, I think people who advocate for radical Islamic terrorism against the United States and their allies should be deported. And if they are United States citizens, they should be charged and their kids should be taken away and placed in de-radicalization camps. It's that serious. It's been that serious. And unfortunately, we're losing Western Europe because thousands of Dearborns exist there. Enclaves of radical, unassimilating Islamic immigrants who have no respect for the countries they live in. I'm sorry, Dearborn, but I want to let you know you're not alone. The world is watching. I'm watching. And if you are from Dearborn or know Pastor Barham, please reach out to him for me. I messaged him on Twitter, but I'd like to personally know how I can get involved. Thanks for checking in, guys, and until next time, Muzzy signing out.